Let's hope it, Crafty Hope, and welcome. It is week 13, my lucky number of hashtag Crafty Hope prompts. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, but first I want to say I hope you've had a wonderful, beautiful holiday season. It's the day after Christmas. I hope it was fabulous. If you celebrate Christmas or if you celebrate Hanukkah, I hope that was beautiful time. And I think it's also the first day of Kwanzaa, so whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it has been joyous. All right, so let me tell you, Crafty Hope Prompts is a prompt deck building project I came up with. There are 52 cards in a playing card deck and 52 weeks in a year, so I decided to kind of combine those facts and create a prompt deck, pulling 3 prompts each week and then altering a playing card that will go into my deck. So these are weeks 1 through 12 that I have pulled and then decorated as well with those prompts. And I do that every Monday. And then on Saturday, I use those same prompts to do a separate project. And that can be anything, an art journal page, a piece of wall art, tags. I've done jewelry. What else have I done? All kinds of things. There's a playlist. I'll link that up there. And so you can kind of watch your way through it. Hopefully I've added everything to it. I need to go through that playlist and check. So today's Monday. So we are going to draw the prompts for week 13. And I will go over with you some ideas of how you might use those if you don't have those materials. So it also helps me come up with ideas how I might use them. All right. Oh, and if you want to play along, just use the hashtag Crafty Hope Prompts. You can also build your own prompt deck or just do an altered playing card with those prompts. You could do a larger project right now. You know, my idea was to just pull prompts, build my own prompt deck, and give you the opportunity to be inspired as well. So it's, you know, I started as for myself, but then was like, well, anybody could play along. So that's my idea. All right, I'm going to get to it. All right, so let's see. We're going to pull 3 prompts. The first one is going to be Indigo. Oh, y'all, yay. I haven't had many. I knew I had a bunch of colors in here, but I haven't pulled anything other than gold, I think. So I'm excited to finally see some of the colors in here. Now, Indigo is, when you talk about Roy G. Biv, Indigo is kind of a dark blue purple. So that's where you can go, and you can do that in any way. You can use paper or paints or pens or pencils or fabrics or buttons or anything that's indigo. The word indigo, however you want to, that's one I think is fairly easy because you can go in any direction with that. It's just a color. All right, so next, prompt 2 is going to be letter or number stamp. Now I had letter or number sticker a few weeks back, so this I'm going to use a stamp, and that's pretty easy. I could probably even use a letter or number stamp with an indigo color stamp pad. So I think the Distress Inks and Oxides and Blueprint sketch are kind of indigo-y. There's probably another color I'm forgetting about. Or I could use, I have a midnight blue paint that I really love that would work well too as an indigo. So I'm going back to indigo there. But letter number stamp, that's, you know, if you want to even like a date stamp has letters and numbers on it, you can just do, I like to just take letter stamps or number stamps and do them randomly on a page for like texture. So that's an option. So that's number 2. And then let's see, number 3 is going to be Scribble. So that's pretty easy. You can take anything, a pen, a pencil, a paintbrush, whatever, and just scribble around on your page. If you've seen some of my other things, you know I like to take this chunky pencil and just all over things like that and scribble. So I think those 3 are great for the end of the year, getting, you know, finishing things up, trying to calm down from the holidays and decompress. So these are some fairly easy ones, I think, and we should have some fun with them. All right, so I am going to pull up my card and gather a couple of things I think would be fun to alter my card, and we're going to do this. That did not take long at all. I did grab that midnight blue paint for the indigo prompt. I also have an Ink Tints Derwent Inktense watercolor pencil in Deep Indigo, which is probably my favorite one. It's the shortest one I have because I've used it so much. So that's Indigo. For letter and number stamps, the first things I grabbed were these two like texture letter stamps that I have. And then I also have this bag that's labeled numbers and letters that are cling stamps that are all just numbers and letters. I think yeah, this one. Is it this one I was thinking of? I don't know. There was one I was thinking of that had a bunch of numbers on it. And well, I guess it's this one. I thought I had another one. Oh, no, it's this one. It's just full of numbers. So I can use any of those. I can use the letter stamps maybe to spell out a word. That might be a fun idea. We're going to see where this goes. I've got my card, and I'm going to pin these together real quick so I don't lose them when it's time to add them to my card. All right, so here we go. Because I don't like the slickness of the playing cards, I am starting most of these by collaging just some papers down on them. This one, I have a piece from It's a Reason. It's like 2020, like Farmer's Almanac, Hurricane Preparedness, I don't know. But it has like the moon cycles and the tides and all of that. And I think it's just kind of a neat piece of paper that I am going to stick down with some matte gel medium because that was on my desk. So, but I've used Mod Podge. Also, one of the things I have found works if you want to keep the card is to either sand it or gesso it so that other things stick like paint onto that card, because if I try to put acrylic paint onto that card, it would kind of pool and whatnot. So yeah. So I am just altering this with, like I said, this paper. And I'm going to add another piece of paper on there just for a different texture to it and to cover up any of the spots that I missed. So I'm going to let y'all see some of this. I'm using a big old cheap paintbrush. And here's that other piece. This is an old map. I don't think it's super old, but I think it's a map of Atlanta that I used on something else. But I knew I'd missed a couple spots on the front that I want, well, not the front, but one of the other sides. I haven't decided which is the decorative side and which is the functional side. For me, on these cards, as you saw, I have one side that's got more of like using the prompts and having it all pretty and stuff, and then the other side, I put my prompts down on. But, you know, and I say it's functional and decorative last week, I really liked my functional side better than my decorative side even, and I don't know why that is. But yeah, I'll put a link to last week's if you missed it. It was my Christmas card. So I don't know why I'm pausing here, but I am getting all those papers down, and I'm trying to find some scissors, I think, so I can trim off the excess paper on here, and then I'll dry the gel medium real quick just so that, and I have found with these cards, when I dry them, they get super soft, like floppy while they're heated, so I give them a second to cool off so they can firm up or whatever. That is that Americana craft paint in Midnight Blue that I said I love, and it's a little glunky, and I'm gonna mess around here for a minute trying to get it to come out and go into my palette, but it is, yeah, it's super glunky. So I'll just grab a paintbrush and scoop up some of it because I wanted to kind of water it down a little. Yeah, I used my, yeah, and I had to straighten my camera, y'all. I didn't realize it was so cattywampus. And I'm just, like I said, I wanted this kind of watery, so I'm dipping into my jar of water off on the side and moving that paint around some just to get that indigo, bam, indigo down, just like that. And so I dried it a little bit, but then decided there were some edges I didn't like, so I'm just using my finger to do that before I finish drying it. And I wanted to bring some metallic on there because that is a darker color. Metallics tend to work really nicely on top of darker colors. And I had some metallic markers I picked up at, I think, the Dollar General, maybe. I don't remember. I saw them and was like, I wonder how those work. So I used that for my Scribble, just that silver. And it did react with water, but it basically just washed it away. It didn't like blur it or anything like I normally like. So I just did that in a couple spots and then reconstituted some dried up instant coffee, and I'm going to splatter that around just because I do love my instant coffee splatter. And I'm going through my little box of focals, and y'all look, I found the sewing machine die cut that I know I mentioned the other day when I said something about when I pulled the sewing machine prompt. And I'm really mad because it was in that little box the whole time and I never looked there. So, drat. And I did pull out this watercolored flower thinking that I would use it because it has that dark blue kind of in there. So I thought, okay, well, that'll be nice contrast on there. I'm not going to use it, spoiler. But for now, I wanted to go ahead and add the letter and number stamp. So I pull out these number stamps and my acrylic block, and I'm just going to stick some numbers down randomly around on this block so that I can, So I'm going to do like one set of the 1, 2, 3s and then a different, anyway. I kind of just use some of the different, because they're all different fonts, kind of. And so I'm using some of just the different ones because I wanted texture on here. And I'll use my StazOn as well. I am spacing these out a little bit on my acrylic block because I don't want it clustered and tight and black. I just want some of the numbers on there. Yeah, I want to fulfill that prompt. This card I tried to keep super simple. Like I said, I felt like these prompts were perfect for the end of the year, something simple, not overdone, and that's really what I'm trying to do here, is just get the prompts down, and I'm going to think on it as far as my project, but for the card I wanted to keep it really simple. So I've got those stamped on there just in the background, like I said, for texture. And I'm looking again at that watercolor flower and moving it around, and I think I end up deciding that it's not quite what I want, so I dip back into those focals, trying to find something else that might work better. And I find this little Tim Holtz botanical that's got that like indigo blue color to it. So I went and took a little piece of paper, it's just copy paper that I happen to have a slip of on the floor, and took it to the typewriter and typed up the words, "Count your blessings," because I felt with all the numbers in the background between the stamps I put down and the tide information that's in the background, that's a lot of numbers there. And I felt like, counting, yeah, that's what you do with numbers. So that phrase just kind of came to me. And now I am trying very hard to separate the strands of some silver, I don't even know what kind of thread it is, but it's like 3 strands of silver thread, and I'm trying to break them down so that I can stick them behind my words. The first thing I'm going to do is stick down, and I don't know why I did this first. It seems kind of silly, but I'm going to stick down that botanical from Tim Holtz using my matte gel. And then I will stick down the thread and then my words. So you'll see me do all that, and I'm going to struggle with that thread a little bit, but I really should have stuck that thread down first. But I thought that silver thread was perfect because I had that silver metallic marker on there, and so this kind of just enhanced that a little bit. And I was just rushing, so I put down some of the matte gel. I'm trying to just stick that thread into there, and then I'll take my tiny little word and stick it down as well. I'll add some more matte gel because it's all getting, I was trying not to put my fingers on it because I still had some of that blue paint on my fingers, and it did get on the words. But y'all, it turns out, you'll see in the pictures, it turns out pretty awesome. So I will dry this, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm going to ink the edges. I've got some Distress ink and tea dye that kind of matches the coffee a little bit, and just frame this up a little bit going around the outside edges. And then I'm going to flip it over to work on my more functional side. And it's not going to get much to it either. I think I'm going to flip it over. We'll see, everybody. All right, so yeah, I flip it over and I decide to grab that Inktense pencil and I'm going to use it to scribble. So I'll do both my Indigo and Scribble kind of at the same time. Easy peasy, and I will activate it so you can see more of that pretty color that it gets. And I don't know why I didn't just use I wanted to do a little something different on one side than the other to play with these things, but they're not completely different. I put down some blue, I put down some coffee. I'm going to dry. It's almost exactly what I did on the other side. And then for the letter number stamp, I did take this like typewriter typed letter stamp just to put it down kind of in the background, so that's easy peasy. Like I said, I'm not stressing too much about this one. And now I think I'm going to think on it. There was a lot of hesitating in this section here, but I'm going to just trim up my words there and see me thinking about it, because I was like, what shape do I want to do? Do I want to try circles? Do I want to add something else? But now I decided to just go ahead and trim down, and then I will stick them down. Now I am trying to stick all of my words down in the order that I drew them, so that when I use these cards later, if I want to use like all of the first one, then those are all the first ones I drew. Something like that, if that makes sense. So, and I'm just using my glue stick to stick them down, because it's just paper to paper. And then I think I'm going to add Scribble as well to this, using that silver marker again and a Sharpie. Oh, I think it was a Sharpie gel pen, I don't even remember what size, like a 0.5. So we'll get to that. So I'm just scribbling around the outside. Y'all, I hate that I say I'm working on it, I promise. I scribbled around the outside with that metallic marker, and then grabbed that I tried a couple different pens. I just wanted I wanted a black pen, so I'll scribble on the outside and then a little bit on the white paper, and then I'll add the number 13 in the upper right corner, so I know it's week 13, and I will be done with this card, I believe. Oh, I'm gonna ink the edges, right, just like I did on the other side. And I'll be finishing up this card. I hope y'all enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe. Oh, there's one more thing. I'm going to take that pen and outline my botanical just so that it pops a little bit off that card. Okay. Goodness gracious. Make sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. I will be back on Saturday with a project using these 3 prompts, and I do hope you play along, because I have really enjoyed seeing all the different ways everybody is interpreting these prompts, or the prompts they draw. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye.